right, good morning everyone and welcome to WHIT Radio's The Jeffersonians. What we do here is we break down current events and link them to things in the past. We kind of dip into the past for backup information. As all of you know, we had the New Jersey gubernatorial elections yesterday. We know the outcomes of that. Christie, as expected, did win by a landslide. No surprise there. But really, let's break down what this means for the state and what this means for Christie's perhaps presidential aspirations. Leah.
The amazing thing about Chris Christie and his little cult of personality is how he went on and on and on during his victory speech about how New Jersey was such a great example for the entire nation of how Democrats and Republicans can come together and work together. Although, interestingly enough, I feel like he focused a little more on himself than the whole of the state, which was important because obviously everyone knows he wants to run for president, although for some reason he's not really saying it. Though he did make it clear that he wasn't going to run for office within New Jersey anymore, although he did say, I entered this second term to finish the job I started, and now I'm going to finish it.
Absolutely. And really, no shape or form was this an acceptance speech. This was an introductory speech. This was a speech telling us where he plans on going and hinting at his future aspirations. It's pretty obvious he is looking for a higher political seat. Really, the only one for him is a presidential seat. But how many of you watched the speech last night? Did we have anyone that actually watched it? No?
No, not really.
He did focus a lot on Jersey folks. He talked about where we've come and where he plans on going and how it's amazing that in such a blue state, a red folk like him could become governor again. So it was interesting. He was, as usual, Chris Christie with his very blunt mannerisms, but we got to see where he's going to go. Brian, what do you think of this whole thing?
I think it's really astonishing how you said Christie had the majority of voters in a blue state vote for him. And I think it's mostly because he doesn't hide behind things, and he's really open and honest to what he wants and how he projects things.
Right. That's a good point. Let's talk about why we think he won by such a landslide. Obviously, there was Sandy. He did what really, like I said before on previous shows, what anyone would do. I don't know, even you guys, would you have handled the situation differently? You do the right thing. You visit, you go on your little tour, shake people's hands, wish them the best of luck. But with media now, and the way, like Mr. Jefferson told us earlier today, the way he got out of that helicopter, he did look very presidential. It was almost scary how presidential and official he looked. But yes, I think Sandy right there was his re-election ticket, and he wrote it, as expected. I don't know, you guys remember 9/11 in New York? That helped out for him. So, Brian, we talked about you. You are a Jersey citizen. I don't know. Do you have a job?
No.
Okay. That's something that happened. The amendment, the minimum wage was raised $1. What do you guys think of that? I don't know. Is anyone working here?
I am. Yeah,
Are you working?
No, over the summer I did.
Over the summer? Was it, well, I don't want to ask your salary, but was it minimum?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, right. That's expected at this point. So what do you guys think of the minimum wage being raised?
It's great.
It's great, yes. I work now for minimum wage. For someone like me, it is and does make quite a big impact. A few extra dollars a week goes a long way, despite what Republicans argue. Nisarg, though, I haven't gotten any input from you regarding what you think Christie winning means for the state. What do you think?
I mean, since it's like you said, we're a Democratic state mostly, and I have the votes here, and Christie got 1,242,568 votes, while Bono only got 781,710 votes. So as you can see, Christie really won by a big margin. So I guess the Jersey folks really knew what they were going in for.
They knew what they wanted. Here's something. Who's Barbara Bono? Right? Who is that? Who? I don't know. Have you guys heard of her before the election?
Doesn't she make sandwiches?
Doesn't she make sandwiches? Yeah. No, but Barbara Bono. We didn't hear much about her. To be honest, I think half the battle when it came to voting for Christie was voting for someone you knew and were familiar with, or voting for someone you had no idea who they were. I really and still don't know who Barbara Bono is. I hate to say that, but I'm not familiar with her policies. I don't know where she came from. I have not heard her name before the election, so that could be one of the reasons. That is one of the reasons Christie won by such a landslide. We had no info on her. What do you guys think about that, Barbara Bono? Know any policies? Anything?
I think
Doesn't ring any bells.
No.
All I really know is her campaign commercials that I saw about how she said that Chris Christie was going to try to run for president, so he wasn't going to be around much, but she was going to be around and she was going to focus on being governor.
Okay.
But what about being governor she was going to focus on wasn't very clear. And obviously no other big Democrat would have run against Christie because they're all familiar with him and like what they've got going on with him and being able to get on the better side of the Republicans thanks to him. And no one really wanted to take a chance on her because no one believed she could win.
Right. And that's also what happens a lot. Folks hear the hype and they fall into this kind of position where, oh, well, she's not going to win anyway. We might as well vote for Christie. That is a valid point, though, she made. Odds are, and what it looks like is Christie is going to try to make a presidential run. But this means he will be, and his focus will be elsewhere, and he'll be out of the state for a large majority of the time. When that happens, who takes over? What are their qualifications? How much do we know about them? What are their policies? It's the behind-the-scenes guy that we really need to keep an eye on. And I believe the behind-the-scenes guy is actually a woman. I'm not sure her name. Do we have her name? No?
I know it's Kim.
We
Kim?
don't
We
have
do.
her full name.
Kim
do we?
Guadagno.
Kim
Kim
Guadagno?
Guadagno.
Okay. I don't know much about Kim. I think it's interesting how she has not gotten the media attention that I think a man would have gotten. That's, which rings a couple bells. But expect to hear her name quite a bit more as we get closer to 2016. And keep an eye out for what she stands for.
I've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah.
That perhaps there's some bit of gender bias here. Nobody's talking about her.
Right, that's what it sounds like. But we got to see where this takes us. There were a few other elections yesterday. There was the New York City mayoral election. We had a Virginia election. Do you guys know anything about that? That's all right. Democrats won.
All around.
They won all
Democrats.
around. The Virginia one was a little closer than I expected it to be, but they are down south, relatively down south.
It makes you wonder how much impact that the Christie winning is actually going to have on the House
Christie's
and
the one Republican.
Senate.
Well, all the seats are held. We saw that. I didn't see that changing at all. But what do you guys think of Christie? Let's go around here. I want to start with Leah. What do you personally think of Chris Christie?
Personally, I'm a bit annoyed by his personality. I feel like it's very, very strong. I kind of like that in a politician, but I feel like he's better at sounding like he's in the middle with when he's inside the office or wherever talking to people, but outside to the media, he just seems like such a strong personality and such a strong guy that, I don't know, personally, it kind of bothers me that about him. I feel like there's no room for negotiation with him, despite the fact that he's always talking about what a good negotiator he is. It also bothers me that he was so against gay marriage, even though he was for civil unions, and even though he's like, oh, I know all these gay people, so I'm obviously not going to be mean to them. But
Right.
no, they can't get married. Not here, nope.
Absolutely. We talked about his personality. While that turns you off, and that turns a lot of people off if you're not from Jersey, that is one of the reasons he won. People like that blunt, in-your-face Jersey personality.
People from Jersey are blunt,
That's
in your face,
right,
abrasive.
I don't always tend to agree with that, but I can relate to it. I think all of us can relate to it, because the alternative is someone that's laid back
Gotta wrap it up.
and not outspoken. All right, guys, we got to wrap it up for today. You know what? We'll keep this topic ongoing. I want to talk about this next show, too, because it is prevalent. Thank you, everyone, for joining in on WHIT Radio's Jeffersonians, and we will be with you next week. We're going to continue this show next week.
My baby.